Welcome back to Key Sensei English. Today we are going to be making spaghetti squash. You saw all the ingredients in the intro. This is what a spaghetti squash actually looks like. This one's grown in Mexico, so make sure you wash the outside really well before you cut it up. You don't want any of those germs from the inside going into the flesh. Anyway, we'll be baking this at 450 degrees, but it's not so much about this, and I'll tell you why, or show you why it's called spaghetti squash in a little bit. It's about the sauce. Everything's vegetarian because I was feeling a little guilty about those ribs, and of course look at me, I'm trying to lose some weight. So this is a good low-calorie, vegetarian, high-vitamin meal. Stay tuned. I'm going to take you step by step. If you like short videos, this probably isn't the one. I forgot to tell you, we have lots of fresh vegetables and fruits, which will constitute our salad. And some fresh mozzarella cheese to make our Italian balsamic vinaigrette salad with basil and cucumber, onion, and tomato, fresh tomato. First, what you're going to need to do is cut this in half, but this is very strong, so I took out my super Japanese knife, and I'll be cutting through this next. Be very careful. It's an easy way to cut yourself if you're not an expert. Looking on the internet, it said that this is a winter gourd, and it came from China to Japan in 1920 and then became popular. It says it's also full of all kinds of vitamins. Says it's good for the nervous system, and lots of other health benefits. Beta carotene, I remember it has potassium in it, which is good for muscle cramps. It's very difficult to get through, so make sure you keep your fingers away from the knife. Alright. Once you get mostly through it, it should break open just like this. Or not. There we go. You can see all the seeds inside. Ugh. You can just take and spoon and scrape those out. I'm sure you could cook them just like pumpkin seeds too. They would taste quite similar, seeing it's the same type of gourd. You can make a jack-o'-lantern out of it too if you want. Alright. This is going everywhere. Scraping it out. Ooh. Alright, make sure it's nice and clean on the inside. No more little hairs of this stuff sticking out. See that? So next you're going to need a pan. I lined mine with tin foil. Put just about a ½ inch of water in there or less, you know. I'm going to throw that in there right now. Alright, so I have that. Now you put them face down, each half face down in the pan. Face down. And then slip them in the oven, which you're hearing right now. Boom. 35, 45 minutes until the outside of them's nice and soft. I forgot to tell you one last little itty bitty thing. Ow, that got hot fast. Don't forget to put just a little bit of extra virgin olive oil in there. Helps in the cooking process. Flavors it a little bit. Also, if you want to spice up the inside of this, you put just a little bit of cracked pepper, like so. A little salt, not too much. Same with this side. Pepper, salt. Alternatively, you could put onion powder or you could put garlic powder if you want. But I'm just keeping it plain. Most of my flavor is going to be in the sauce. Alright, now as that is cooking, we have to get our sauce going. So our sauce consists of onion, fresh mushrooms, and they've been all pre-washed. I like to use about 5 or 6 tablespoons of extra virgin olive oil. And let's get this on low temperature right now. Gas stoves are absolutely the best. Turn it down to about medium heat and just start the mushrooms in there. Don't worry about the oil not being hot or any of that nonsense. It'll be okay. So in the meantime, I like to have very thin onions in my spaghetti sauce. So I just cut these very thin and keep the onion as whole as I can. Cut those, and I'm going to add that to the sauce. You can use your thumb as a guide, just don't cut it off. Hold it back a bit. You get too close to the end, it's not worth it. Now just put those in there. Shoop. Throw those in there. Now is the process of spicing everything up. We got some Italian seasoning. We got some salt. We got some fresh ground pepper. This is the base of your sauce. Just the base. Because we're going to use just a regular jar sauce and add some diced tomatoes to it. We got garlic powder. Not too much. Why? Because we're going to add some garlic to it. Some onion powder. Oregano. If you can get fresh oregano, it's even better, but you wouldn't add it until the end. Since this is not fresh, I'm going to add it now. You can go ahead and put the lid on that and let that steam up. That way the spices will kind of reconstitute. Found the lid. Placing that right on there. Give it a nice little stir to make sure everything's got a little olive oil on it. Then leave that to saute for a moment. Now we have this mixture sauteing. I want to give it a nice stir. Get everything nice and coated. And all those spices, you're going to want to steam those up, get those reactivated. And you can see the heat is not that high. Alright. Now garlic can be interesting, and everybody has their way of doing garlic. But mine is with the garlic press. It's kind of medieval. I'll show you how it works. Of course, the peeling. Give it a nice little smack. Some of these cloves will come loose. We only need 2 or 3. Again, to get the skin off, give it a little smack. 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 This one got away. And then cut that little hard thing off the end, and you'll be home free. Cut the hard thing. Alright. All these skins should just come off like skins. Alright. Like ribs off a bone. How's that for an illusion? So they're all pretty clean. Throw those in the press. Just jam them in there like this. And then all you have to do is twist. And you can see we're going to put that into the sauce. Alright, I can scrape the rest off with a knife. See, it came out of there really nicely. You can kind of clean that out inside too if you wish, but it takes a long time. Has to chill for a little bit. You will need a nice balsamic vinegar. Again, extra virgin olive oil. But then all of the same spices as you use for the sauce. Oregano, onion powder, garlic powder, some basil. First I start by peeling the cucumber, and again everything has been pre-washed. So always peel away from yourself and get most of it off. Cause it to be a little bit bitter, so you want to get the green off if it's an American cucumber. Some other varieties don't taste so bitter. And I'll clean that up in a minute. I'll chop the end off. I really do like to use this knife. I know it's a fillet knife, but alternately you could use one of these slicer things, but this is not so big. So I just like to cut them very, very thinly. And if you want to get fancy, you can cut them at an angle. If you want to get really fancy, get a fork and draw the fork along the outside. This will do two things. It'll make it give it a fancy design, but it'll also allow it to soak up more of the dressing. Look fancy, might impress your guests. I also like to cut my tomatoes very thinly and use the freshest ones that I can find, nice and red. I don't bother taking the seeds out. If they fall out, that's fine. I'm not too picky that way. Cut those very thinly. Again, same thing. Very ripe. Should be nice and sweet. The tomato sauce adds a good flavor to the dressing that you're going to make right on top of it. Some of the cucumber got on the plate. You can move all that stuff aside. Get out your mozzarella cheese. Again, this is easy to cut through it. Sanitize it. Get a nice size cheese. Discs. You can cut them smaller if you wish. These will soak up some of the balsamic vinaigrette. so make it flavorful. So I'm just going to place these first thing right on the plate over here. Just lay them out. There we go. You got to try some of the cheese yourself. Very good. Some onion very thinly so that it can soak up some of the dressing as well. Again, you can see I'm using my thumb as a little guide here, keeping my fingers out of the way. Cut a bunch of thin little slices. Couple more. It has one last kind of onion, again pre-washed. Take off the old end, and I will change my knife for this one. Cut some small pieces of the green onion. If you want to use the white part, you can. I do not. Alright, now you just need to construct each one with a few pieces of onion on each. If you don't like onion, don't put it. The thinnest pieces are the best. Put those around. Put a tomato right on top of each one. Tomato. Little cucumber. Then you have your balsamic vinegar. If it's a good balsamic vinegar, it's going to be like syrup almost. Very thick. Put this on first. Drizzle. Drizzle. For presentation. Drizzle. You also want a little bit of olive oil. In the meantime, your sauce is cooking. The saute should probably be about finished by now. Just a little drizzle of olive oil. Don't worry if too much gets on. Now we put a little bit of our garlic powder, very little. Onion powder, very little. A little bit of oregano on top. The basil you want to get a little bit more of. More basil. Can't hurt. A little bit of pepper. Try not to get it everywhere. It doesn't look pretty. And there you can see your nice little Italian mozzarella. Chill that, because all this balsamic and vinaigrette type dressing is going to soak into the cheese, and it's going to be very, very tasty and cold. In the meantime, you can see that the vegetables are pretty sauteed. The mushrooms and the onion, very sauteed. So I just at this point add my diced tomatoes and a full can of whichever sauce you like the best. This one has mushrooms in it already, but I put some more, and this roasted garlic. Stir that around. Again, there's no meat, but I'll show you some of the vitamin information on the screen. Close this. At this point, you may want to give it a little taste, because some of the sauce diluted some of the flavor. It's not going to be too hot, so give it a little taste. And you can tell if it needs more salt or pepper Or basil. This needs more basil. Put that in there. And it may need a bit more pepper as well. So I'm throwing some pepper in there. Stir that around a little bit. Let's let that mushroom flavor and the onion flavor incorporate into the sauce. One of my favorite secret ingredients to marinara sauce is spinach. You see how big it is? It's going to cook right down to nothingness. Just put that right on top. You'll see. It'll cook down. Put that on there. May want to turn it up just a little bit. And let that steam, then incorporate it into the sauce. So now I'll just put the rest of those ingredients into a bowl and remake the dressing. Salt and pepper. You got a little garlic powder, little basil, actually a lot of basil, oregano, little onion powder, and you take your balsamic vinegar again, nice and thick, you can see, and just drizzle that around. Don't be shy. And a little bit of extra virgin olive oil. Drizzle that bad boy around. Whoa, there you go. Stir it around a bit. Chill it. You can put bits of cheese in there if you want. This time smaller bits of cheese. Just whack off little bits of cheese. They'll soak up some of the sauce in there. Mix it. Chill it. A little bit of green onion again. There we go. You can see, as I promised, the spinach is nice and cooked down. You can mix it in to the sauce really easily. And we'll see what it looks like in a few minutes. Our timing is perfect. There's about 3 more minutes for the squash. This is cooked down. That is about 5 more minutes. And so we can clean up. Come out, they're going to be hot as Hades. The oil's still going to be down there, but the water's going to be gone. And if I poke it with the end of a spoon, you can see that it's really soft. And if it's soft there all the way through, then it's probably ready. Don't worry about this burn here. It won't be transferred to the flesh inside. So let that cool for about 5 or 10 minutes. You can see the sauce again. Now that's almost completely cooked down. You can stir that in a little bit more. Turn the heat way down. And cover while this is cooling. So here it is after about 15 minutes. Now if it's too watery for like a sauce for you, just let it reduce. In other words, take the lid off, put it on low, and some of the moisture or the water will cook out and it'll become thicker. You can see it's almost perfect now. Spinach is cooked down. You can see it's pretty much ready. The onions are cooked down to almost nothingness. Still a little caramelized and sweet. The spinach is just cooked down as well. You can tell the mushrooms here, not too well done. Nice and spongy. Cooking down for 5 more minutes. You can tell it's nice and thick now. Very, very thick and chunky sauce. Also, you see this here, raw, unfiltered Central Valley honey, made by American bees. Well, you're not going to need that. Put it up. So I take a paper towel. It's been cooling for about 10 minutes. And I grab it. It'll be very soft. And you can see it's a little stringy, like spaghetti. And you just put that into the bowl. And you can use a spoon too. It won't crush. It's very hot though, so be careful. And we'll just fast forward until when I'm finished. But you can see here, like spaghetti. After it's all out of the husk, it makes quite a bit. It's a very big bowl. Next, I'll prepare the plate. To prepare your plate, you'll just take a little bit of this pasta, place it, get one of your salad medallions or two, slide it around in the dressing. 1, 2, 1 more, 3, and give yourself a little bit of sauce, not too much. You still want to be able to see the squash down there. Then you top the rest off with a little bit of Parmesan cheese. Put a little Parmesan on here, not too much. Gives it a nice color. Any extra, just put back on the salad left over. And here you have from the taste test, I can tell you it's delicious. The squash is soft, but also it's a little bit hard, kind of like al dente. It tastes very good. The spinach is great in the sauce, although on hindsight I would probably cut the spinach a little bit because it got a little bit too long. And it's kind of not as manageable as I want it to be when I was eating. But it tastes really good. Cheers. Thanks for watching.